These aren't on yet, right? I'll turn them on, okay. Yeah.
I should have worked on my arms before I came in. I have like
No.
better guns for this press conference. Like this.
Yeah. All right, I'm joined here by Lydia Ko in the Media Center at the Chevron Championship. Welcome, Lydia, first major of the year. Just to kick things off, this is your 7th event of the season. Already have 1 win under the belt, 2 additional top 10s. How's your game feeling going into this week?
Yeah, I feel like I've been playing a lot more solid, and to be able to win the first tournament of the year was just a bit of a confidence booster, and to play well the week after was also great. I think when you come back from an off season, it's hard to know whether you're actually going to play well or not, and I think those first few events are a good gauge on what you need to work on throughout the season. And luckily, I was able to get a couple good results and learn what are the aspects I need to work on and what are the things that's going well. So I feel like I'm progressing, and the more chances I give myself, I feel like one of those chances are gonna happen at the end of the Sunday. So I'm excited to be here, and it's our second time in the Woodlands area. So I'm excited for a great week.
And you mentioning this is the second time you've played here. What did you learn about this course maybe last year?
That there's a lot of water on the left, which my ball ended up there quite a bit last year. My week was cut short because I just didn't play that well. But the course, I think they did some changes, put in a couple extra bunkers and, did some work around the greens as well. So I've only played the front 9 as of now. But I feel more comfortable playing second time around, and I think sometimes when you go to a golf course that you haven't played before and you don't play well, you don't have a lot to gauge off from, but it might be a good thing. And I'm hoping to make some more great memories here, and hopefully a lot of people can come out and watch us play.
Absolutely. I'll open it up here in the Media Center for questions. Whoever wants to come up, just step up to the mic.
Lydia, we know winning first event out of the gate is always a dream start, but it's kind of challenging to maintain that momentum. How have you really maintained that pace that you set yourself up for so far this year?
I think my coach has been a big help in that perspective of never getting me too excited or too above. And even after I won the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament Champions, I think on the Sunday we were like, okay, even though I won, like what are the things I could have done better to like maybe be more comfortable coming down the stretch, if I have, let's say, a 1-shot lead rather than a 2, 3, 4-shot lead. So it was, I think he always, sees a positive in things, but also we're always looking forward to progressing. And I think that's a great mindset to be. And we were both on the same page on, even though I won, I think I could have done better in this, so that next time if I'm in a similar situation, I'll be able to, handle that better. So he's been a really big help to like just kind of keep me grounded and always working to get better.
This course, obviously, a lot of people are still kind of unfamiliar with it, but could you just speak to the mental test that this course provides as a major championship venue?
Yeah, I think there's like no super easy kind of holes. I was saying like the front 9 are like all very like medium, like middle range, like difficulty holes. And then the back 9, there are a couple more easier ones, but then there are also some really more difficult ones as well. So it's kind of the golf course where you may not necessarily see a ton of birdies, and you may end up seeing like a stretch of like, let's say 7, 8 pars. And then when you keep making pars, even though it's you're still playing well, you might run out of patience, and then you could lose your focus and make a mistake or anything like that. So I think it's a golf course that requires a lot of patience, and know that, because there are quite a few of those maybe middle to longer range par 4s and, those kind of length par 3s as well, you might not necessarily get as many like birdie opportunities or chances on the scorecard. But, as long as you keep grinding and you set up, opportunities, then those things are going to get sorted by itself.
All right, Kent.
Lydia, you talked about playing on the front nine. It's seen a decent number of changes from last year to this year. Could you walk through how some of those changes might impact your approach to the front side?
I think the two biggest changes are on 8 and 9. I know, like, when I walked up to the green on the first hole, I was like, the green complex looks very similar. But I was playing with a good friend of mine, Lindy, and she has a local caddy this week. And Steven said that, they had toned down some of the ridges and all that. So I think to the naked eye, like, and to somebody that's only come here like 2 times, or this is my second time, I think you might not even know that there was a difference made. But on 8, they made the drive a lot more tighter, just having the bunker come into play a little bit more. And obviously, if you hit a good drive, you're going to get rewarded to be able to get home for 2. And on 9, I think it was a pretty straightforward tee shot without excluding the water, but now having another kind of middle bunker where I think most people are going to run out or carry into there, that makes it a lot tighter. So I think people that are going to be super aggressive and hit driver are going to get rewarded hitting, wedges into the green. And if you lay back, short of that, then you're going to hit like middle long irons. So I think it's very strategic based and definitely dependent on what the player decides to do. And I think this is kind of a golf course where if you draw it or fade it, like it's not for like one certain flight shape, which I think is great. Where it doesn't eliminate a certain part of the field.
How receptive have the greens been this year compared to last year?
I think last year the greens were pretty firm too, even though they had a lot of rain, and I think we had storm even during the week. I remember the fairways being like quite soft, but by tournament, the greens were like they weren't like super soft as much as maybe the fairways were playing. But when you do come to courses where they've done work on the greens, you've got to expect it to be firmer than maybe this golf course in 5-10 years time, just because the ground and grass, everything has more time to settle. But I don't think it's outrageously firm where you can't hold greens with irons. So it is going to be difficult, and that's why I think being on the fairway is going to be crucial. And especially on Bermuda, you could get any sort of lie in the rough. So I think being accurate off the tee is going to be a huge help, and to be able to attack some of these pin positions.
What's it been like for you to watch Nellys run of 4 wins in a row, and where does that streak kind of rank for you in terms of runs of performances since you've been on tour?
I think this is definitely one of the best, stretch a player has played in my 11 years on tour. I saw that, was it May and then Annika were maybe the last 2 that had won 3-4 events in a row, and the max I've done is 2, and I was like, this is pretty cool to be able to win back-to-back weeks. But for her to have done that, win the second event of the year and then have 8 weeks off and then win the next 3. I was like, man, I shouldn't have played. We're all playing for second place, but I was lucky enough to play alongside Nelly and in Phoenix, and she played great. She putted great, and she's obviously coming in with a lot of confidence. And even on the men's side, I think Scotty Scheffler is having a great stretch of his own as well. So it's pretty impressive, and I think sometimes people are like, oh, it must be just that much easier to win, but it's showing and saying something about the player if they're winning 4 weeks straight. And I think it's great for the women's golf, and I think with her playing well, it's inspiring and motivating the rest of us to, keep doing what we're working on. And, we all know that golf is a difficult game, so we're just trying to do our best, and it's a new week, so who knows what's going to happen.
What differences did you see in her game to elevate herself to this level?
I mean, I think she's always been a world-class player. Like I said earlier, I think I play with her 50% of the Thursday and Friday tee times we get paired up with. I call it the co-order pairing, and she says, "Yeah, I'm either playing with you or Jin Young," so she can't get away from the co's. But I mean, she's long off the tee, and she's very accurate, especially for how far she hits it. And I think she has very great control of her distances and her irons, and she's been putting well on top of that. And she chips in every now and then. I play with her, so it sounds like a very accomplished combination. And I think even when she is maybe not at the top of her game for the week, I think she's always so consistent, and that's why she's always putting herself there.
All right, next.
Hey, Lydia. This is regarding preparation for major championships specifically. You're becoming very accustomed to the major championship calendar, having been on tour for a while. How has your preparation for major championships evolved over your time on tour, and what did it look like getting ready for the Chevron Championship this week?
Yeah, I think it's been very circumstantial in the sense that, before when we were playing in Palm Springs, I would play those couple events leading up to this tournament. And now I think, everybody had a week off before coming into this week. So I think it's like very dependent on the major. Normally I'd like to get to the tournament site, on a Saturday or a Sunday, and maybe just to get adjusted to the time and just do some prep work. Last year I came here like on Friday, and then I could practice here the weekend prior, especially being a new golf course. But it's honestly changed, and it's never been like super consistent. Every major has, different days where we play pro-ams, or, US Women's Open where we don't have a pro-am, and it's a longer practice rounds because we're playing in 4 balls. I think so. You just have to, at the end of the day, just get adjusted to what that major championship is like, and what comes with playing those events. And I think you end up finding what's right just for that week. And sometimes it might be playing 18 holes on Monday, just because I'd rather spend more time on the golf course than hitting balls for an hour on the range. So I think I'd try and listen to my mind or my body and say, what are the things I actually need to work on and what would be beneficial for me. And I think that's what I've learned the most throughout the years, is to just listen to what the voice is saying in my head. And I think it's normally a pretty good gauge of like what I actually need to do that week.
Awesome. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
All right, one more here.
Lydia, is there any adjusting that you have to do going into this week as far as ball flight and trajectory is concerned?
I don't think so. I haven't done a whole lot of work on my TrackMan to see how much further or less the ball is traveling. But my caddy Paul checked that the altitude is only like 100 and something feet, so we're not like playing in like Mexico City where the ball is like traveling a super long way. So I think for most parts it's just like your any standard week. And in Florida, I think we get this kind of Bermuda grass, so it's not like too unfamiliar, but it's just more trying to get just used to the conditions here, and sending my swings to my coach as usual, and doing some good work with my putting coach as well, and just getting adjusted more to the conditions rather than how far my ball is traveling.
And what have your thoughts been on the Woodlands here over the last 2 years?
It's been nice. I've been staying at a hotel in the Woodlands area, and I think the area that I'm in has a lot of good food options, including a True Food kitchen. So it's such a modern, new area, and I saw on the sign coming in that it's, I think, been 50 years since the Woodlands. I don't know, yeah, so it was it is definitely very new, and you can see that by the buildings and everything. And the only other time I'd played in Houston was for the US Women's Open when we played in December a few years ago. So it feels like a completely different area. And then obviously Texas is big, and I hear a lot of great, things about this area. And I don't know if it's because it's like a local biasness, but it's a really, beautiful and quiet area and very easy to get around. So as a player, like it's not that difficult for us because people have a lot of great housing and hotel, and we're not having to go like 30 plus minutes to go to the grocery store or come to the golf course. So logistically it's super easy, and honestly Chevron has gone above and beyond to keep elevating this event. And I'm lucky enough to be able to go to the champions dinner yesterday, and everything they've done, whether it's like things on on course on the tournament site to things like that, they've just been investing so much in that. And I think as players we're very grateful to be able to play these championships where the partners are super supportive and of women's golf and just growing it, and even supporting the junior AMs that are also competing this week.
All right, one more here in the media center, and then if you have a question on the Zoom, we can unmute after this question.
Hello. Little different topic. We are about 100 days left until the 2024 Paris Olympics. As a two-time Olympic medalist, how much is that on your mind? How much are you hoping to and looking forward to making, going to Olympics again and performing well there?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think there's definitely a star next to, the 2024 Paris Olympics. It's weird because I can't believe it's been, 3 years already since the Tokyo Olympics, having that being played a year later than its original date. But, the last two Olympics has been great. It was always a dream of mine to be able to play in the Olympics, and to be there at Rio and to medal was an unbelievable experience. And obviously, due to the circumstances, Tokyo was a little different, but hopefully, knock on wood, Paris is going to be, almost like back to normal, and it's literally celebrating the best athletes all around the world. So, I'm excited and, hopeful to be part of that. And, I'm pretty much playing in France, and then I have a break and then come back to play in France again. So, it'll be chances for me to improve my French. Don't know a lot of words in French, so I'm excited. And I think Paris and Le National especially has hosted, huge sporting events like the Ryder Cup, and I'm excited to be able to play it on a championship golf course like that. And I think it's going to be extremely difficult, but when you have the best of the best there to compete in the Olympics, I think it's pretty much the perfect golf venue for that. And the countdown begins, and I'm sure there's an internal countdown that's going off in my head too.
Just one more follow-up. Is there a different mindset when you're there? There's only 60 players. Like you said, it's best of the world, like the LPGA, but it's slightly different. So is there a different mindset when you're, from your experience, just preparing and heading to the Olympics compared to LPGA events?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's just a win to even be at the Olympics. I thought being an Olympian was something that, like, I would see through on the TV, and somebody else was an Olympian. Like, I joke that, I'm not an athlete, but I'm an Olympian. But it's just to be amongst those, like, that group of athletes that they actually call themselves an Olympian and are very proud to be one. It's a very cool feeling, but I think, and that's why, like, even if you don't medal, it's just you're a winner, just to be there and to be able to represent your country at the biggest sporting event ever. But I think when you are playing, in some ways you maybe, I remember in the last two, I was a little bit more aggressive in my second and third round because, at the end of the day, you do want to medal. And if you're tied third or you're tied second, like I was in 21, you have to go into playoff, and potentially you may be the one that falls out of that. So it's, I guess, maybe like the playoff for the T-Mobile match play, where you are playing for a certain amount of spots, and this is like 3 medals. So I think sometimes you do have to maybe be more aggressive and say that, fourth is a huge difference between fourth and third, whereas some other weeks, coming fourth here this week is such a great accomplishment as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, just checking here. Any questions on the Zoom? If not, we're going to wrap up here. All right. Thank you very much, Lydia. Appreciate it.
Thank you.